Friday night, so this is even more impressive for you guys to come out and to support Jim. If you don't know, Jim is one of those people that will go beyond the call to do anything for anybody that asks of him. Sometimes to his detriment because he's always willing to help others. But the other thing is you should never count someone like Jim out because he's always been very successful in everything he's done. So a proud baby brother here, looking forward to this election. No tears, please. But before Jim comes up, we have a lot of folks here that we want to acknowledge and thank. Many are going to speak here, and we'll get through them as quickly as we can. But I want to acknowledge the current supervisor of West Bloomfield Township, Michelle Economou Ureste, who's here. Jim will also make some other announcements here shortly of all the other. In my official duty, I work for the Chaldean Chamber of Commerce, so I always want to be kind to my boss and acknowledge my chairman, Mr. Saad Abu, who's here. He makes some of the best ice in the Midwest, really. All the ice today is compliments of Saad and U.S. Ice, so very good man. Thank you, Saad. And then I know I saw a couple of our other board members here. Iman Jajoni Damon is here, and Iman is running for 46th District Court. Give her a round of applause. There she is. So if you live in Southfield, Beverly Hills, Franklin, please vote for Iman. She's not going to get you out of a ticket, but at least she'll wave to you when you're in front of her. She's a good citizen. And this is probably, given what's happening back home, the largest concentration of members in our community from Bacofa. So I want to acknowledge our village. Thank you. Thank you. Especially Dr. Nudin Mansour and his brothers. Good people. Good people. Thank you. All right. On with the show. Jim, you know I love you. It's my daughter's 10th birthday, so I'm missing the dinner. I'm heading over there now. But I wanted to just make some key introductions. Many of you have known that it took us quite some time. We had many people in our community very involved and engaged in politics. Jerry Ono, if you didn't know this, ran for state rep several years ago. It didn't work out. Now he's helping bury people. I mean, that's how messed up it was. But if you didn't know, Jerry was the first Chaldean to run for state rep. Isn't that something? So in many ways, Jerry set the tone for others and is a pioneer for many in our community. But the first Chaldean to be in the State House is none other than Representative Clint Kesto. I had the opportunity to be with Clint yesterday as we celebrated Chaldean American Day in Lansing, and he's done a wonderful job representing us. He's also up for another term. Unfortunately, with term limits, this will be his last term. So we have to make sure that Clint, who hasn't just represented the Chaldean community, but has done a wonderful job representing this district and many people in this area and the people of the state of Michigan. So I view Clint as my brother, and I'm very honored to bring him up here. And it's great that when someone who is in a position like Clint and is so well respected will say nice things about my brother. So welcome, Mr. Clint Kesto.
Thank you, Martin. I won't say anything silly as you do. I promised your mom that I wouldn't. Give it up for Frank and Hannah Manna, though, because, without them, maybe Jim wouldn't be here to run for office, right? In fact, there actually is two best advocates, because I remember when I was running for office, we were out there knocking on doors in Hannah Manna's street, Martin and Jim's mother's street, and I saw her coming out, and she said, wait a minute, I need a sign here and a sign there, and give me your postcards, because I'm going to go pass them out as well. And it was just really special, and of course Jim and Martin, our brothers, to me as well. But I just want to say a couple of things, because it's not all the time that you'll see a Republican come to a Democrats event. But you know what, when there are brothers, we come together. And partisan lines don't mean anything in that point. And in this community, whether you're Chaldean, non-Chaldean, whatever it might be, I think there's a point that you can represent the district. Even now, what I'm doing as a Republican in the State House, the focus is really what can I do for everyone in the area. That's why I believe that Jim will do a great job. And it's important as even the Chaldean community grows in this area in West Bloomfield Township, that the voices that are being heard and those that are representing you are a diverse group, one that is representative of the people. And you know, we have a large Chaldean population. We have Shenandoah Country Club, our country club in West Bloomfield. We have St. Thomas Church, our church in West Bloomfield. And I think now, hopefully in 2016, we'll have Jim Manna on the board as a representative and a voice for our Chaldean people. I think at the same time, with what he's done, being on the planning commission and doing everything that he has, as you see on the postcard, that you know he's there and he will be there to serve everyone in the community across all 50 or 60,000 West Bloomfield residents. So I stand here to tell you, don't forget this November and in August, make sure you vote for Jim. Make sure you get out there, get registered if you're not registered. Vote for him. Fortunately, I don't have a primary opponent, so you can vote for Jim this time if you live in my area. You're welcome, Jim. If I was in West Bloomfield, I'd vote for you too. But I'm not. I'm in Commerce, so I'm sorry. But make sure you get out there, vote, encourage people to vote. And not just the Chaldean people, but everyone, and tell them why Jim will be a great trustee. Because now the time has come where we need someone to be our representative and to be our person on there that will be our voice. And I know he'll do a great job for the whole community. So make sure we all are here, and we will continue to support Jim Manna. Thank you.
And I'm not even that tall. Okay. Hey, that was very nice remarks. Give it up for Representative Kesto. And by the way, Clint, I don't think you're alone here. I think Jim might be the only Democrat in the room, to be honest with you. But just kidding. I know many of you go both ways. That's good. Let me welcome our next speaker, who has been very involved and engaged in our community, a dear friend as a trustee here in West Bloomfield Township, and a former prosecutor in Macomb County. I've known Steve Kaplan for many years, and really appreciate the hard work he does for all the residents of this area, but more importantly, his open door policy and always answering the call when needed. A true friend to our community, and someone now who is running for West Bloomfield Township supervisor. We're going to miss you, Michelle. But bring up Steve Kaplan, please.
I'll join Clint by pushing down the microphone. In December 2009, when we first took office and Michelle was the supervisor, her first action was to nominate Jim Manna for planning commissioner. And Michelle has been a great supervisor, but I think that's one of her proudest moments. So thank you, Michelle. Well, I want you to know that we've been going door to door, Jim and I and Terry and Deb, and we came up with this idea. One day, Jim and I were talking. I said, Jim, I think you're the best planning commissioner in the state of Michigan. And he said, thank you, Jim. Thank you, Steve. So now when we go to the doors and I'm introducing Jim, I'll say he's the best planning commissioner in the state of Michigan. He's been ranked #1. And finally somebody said, who ranked him #1? I said, I did. But Jim is so well known in the real estate world. All the brokers know him. Now, you might not know the story that he was at the Vatican, and he had a conversation with the Pope on the stage. And these brokers walked by, and they said, who's the guy in the white robe talking to Jim Manna? That's how well known he is. So before I introduce him, I want to tell you a story. Jim asked me to represent an acquaintance of his who was charged with possession of cocaine. It's a traffic stop, and they find cocaine on him, and he's taken to the police station. And Jim said, Steve, he didn't do it. I've known this guy for years. He's innocent. So the police asked him, they said, what is the cocaine doing in your pants? He said, that's not my cocaine. The officer said, what's it doing in your pants? He says, those aren't my pants. So Jim, I think that client was guilty. Well, you know, Jim truly has been an all-star on the Planning Commission. He's one of the few planning commissioners who, at the same time of being pro-business, pro-development, he also is sensitive to environmental issues. But I can tell you this, when people appear before the Planning Commission, and I sit next to Jim, many of them have to spend money, they've had permits denied, they've had site plans delayed, but Jim is a no-nonsense guy, and he wants to move the developments along. He's the one planning commissioner I know, when he votes against the petitioner thanks him because Jim is so polite. So as sterling as he has been as a planning commissioner, he will be an all-star as a township trustee. And please welcome my good friend, Jim Manna.
My wife made me promise not to drink before this event. She said, you might say something you'll regret. She said, no cursing and no drinks. So here I am. I had a couple of drinks, and I'm going to curse a lot. You know, before I start with my gratitude, I want to thank God, always. Before anything I do, I always thank God first. So I want to thank the Lord for giving me this opportunity to be here today with all of you. And we have lots of honored guests that are here tonight. I'm so privileged and absolutely surprised and slightly shocked that Robert Ficano is here, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, Robert, that you're here. Robert's always been a great friend to our community. Thank you, Robert. I also, well, I'll get back to him. Michelle was introduced, but I want you guys to know that if it wasn't for Michelle Economo, I would have never even considered politics. All I did was help her. I never considered anything in return. And one day she turned to me and said, Jim, would you consider becoming planning commissioner? And I responded with, how much does it pay? She said, very little. So I said, okay, I'll take it anyway. So thank you, Michelle, for the opportunity. It's because of you that I'm here today, so thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Steve Kaplan is a brother to me and always will be a great brother to me. I refer a lot of the criminal cases to him. So and he does a great job in defending people, and he does a great job of defending our community, both publicly and in court. So Debbie is running for township clerk, and I think she'll do a phenomenal job. In a few minutes, I'm going to tell you why I'm running, but before that, I want to acknowledge a few more people. There's other than my mother and dad who are here today, who I learned all of my respect from my dad, and I learned all of my salesmanship from my mom. My mom taught me to work hard and to never accept no from anybody. But I want to thank my mom and dad for being here. So I am what I am today because of you. So thank you. But other than mom and dad, and other than my siblings that probably came after this gentleman, I have a good friend that I met in the 7th grade in Detroit growing up, who till this day is one of my best friends and somebody that I look up to and have the utmost respect for. He's one of the leaders of our community, but we actually went to school together and we were best of friends in elementary school, and that happens to be, I won't call him by his American name, I'm going to call him by his Chaldean name, which is Bashar Kassab. So, thank you for being here, Bashar. So, let's talk about why we're here, but there's a few other officials that are here that I want to acknowledge. One of them who's running for Oakland County Prosecutor. And before I just acknowledge his name, I want you to know that if you reached out and tried to reach the current Oakland County Prosecutor, I'm not going to be politically correct tonight, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you reached out and tried to connect with the current Oakland County Prosecutor, I would say good luck. And it's not somebody that's been supportive of our community. It's not somebody that I think has been supportive of any community. But I'm supporting Mike Getz because I truly believe that he will help all people, not just Chaldeans, but all people. So Mike, thanks for being here. I appreciate it, and I hope you'll vote for him. I also want to acknowledge Magistrate Peter Mansour, who's sitting in the back. Thank you for being here, Peter. and Bobby Jasty, who's running for office, who's also here. And for the elected officials that are in office today, we have a couple of judges that, of course, couldn't be here because they're not. I don't think they're allowed to support us, people running for office. But another great friend who did run for office and won in Beverly Hills is my friend Rock Aboud, who's here today. Thank you for being here, Rock. And if there's anybody I missed, God bless you, and I love you. So, all right. I immigrated here as an 8-year-old boy. So one of the reasons we immigrated here is America's the greatest country in the world. And one of the reasons we're here is for our freedoms. Freedoms to practice our religion. Freedoms to run for office. Freedoms to be able to speak out and not be afraid of what the results might be. So I love the fact that our parents had the foresight to leave Iraq and come to America, and I thank them for that. I always thank also my Uncle Sammy, who always supported us and helped us to get here. In the years that we've been here, 5 of us were born back home and 3 of us were born in the U.S. And this is truly the land of opportunity because all of us have achieved different things in life, but today we're Americans first. And it's the greatest country in the world, and I think hopefully it always will be. I want to mention my involvement in some of the committees and what I believe in. 4 years ago, my good friend Andre Duville, who is here somewhere, Andre is the director of Temple Shir Shalom, and I'm happy to serve with him on the Walk for Israel committee. As a matter of fact, this weekend on Sunday is our annual Walk for Israel festival, so it's open to everybody, and year after year we get more and more Chaldeans that come there and support us, and I hope you'll continue to doing that. So big round of applause for Andre and the Temple Shir Shalom. I'm on a committee called the Chaldean Community Foundation, and Martin is one of the founders of that, along with our chair, Anmar Sarafa, who's done a great job in doing fundraising and raising millions of dollars for our foundation. So thank you, Anmar. I've been on the Chaldean American Chamber of Commerce since its inception, and I'm a proud member of that. I want to talk about 3 members of our community that I believe have done most in helping our people. One of them is the late, great Mike George, who was a mentor to Martin and a mentor to me. I always asked him for advice, and he was a wonderful, wonderful man. I spoke about him during the Planning Commission one day live, and a lot of the people were watching here, and Mike George will always be a leader in our community and in my heart. So I love you, Uncle Mike, up in heaven, and Rodney, I want to say thank you for being here also. Rodney George. A second person who's given selflessly for many, many years, who's also here tonight, and I so much appreciate it, is Basil Bacall, who runs the Adopt a Refugee program. Basil? I think he's here somewhere. And then lastly, a guy you've probably never heard of named Martin Manna, who's already gone, but he's in my heart always. Our brethren, our Jewish brothers and sisters, have experienced some of the same ethnic cleansing throughout history, and now call America our homeland. We must never give up nor allow this to happen in this country. Although I'm running for local office, and we'll never get the opportunity to talk about, gay marriage or abortion or any of these national issues. As we walk door to door, Steve Kaplan and I, one of the things, some of the questions we get is, how do you feel about this or how do you feel about that? And our basic answer is, we really don't we'll never get the opportunity to really vote on an issue like this. So all we're doing is local stuff. This is just local office. I don't ever plan on going beyond this, and I want to speak from the heart for a second. I asked several people to run for this office because I believe the board in West Bloomfield Township and some of the other boards, whether it be ZBA or some of the others, I believe they're broken. Michelle Economo has done a phenomenal job. Steve Kaplan has done a phenomenal job. Terry Weingarten has done a phenomenal job. But unfortunately, there are 7 people on the board, and it takes 4 people to make a vote. And although they haven't gotten the vote, they have tremendous respect from all the communities and all the people in this township. And that's why Michelle has won over and over again. That's why Steve Kaplan has always been the highest vote getter. There's got to be a reason for that. And I'm hoping that I can make a change. I'm hoping that I can make a positive change to get rid of some of the racism that might exist at Town Hall. I hope to get rid of that by coming into office and being somebody that's going to represent all people of West Bloomfield. Not just Chaldeans, not just people I like, not just people that vote for me, but all people of West Bloomfield Township. We need to bring back respect to people that come to Town Hall. If you're applying at Town Hall for a development, or if you want to do business in our community, we have, unfortunately, the stigma that West Bloomfield Township is one of the toughest communities to do business in. You're going to get approved. You're going to get approved, but it's probably going to take a year, year and a half. Mr. Namu, who was just here, had opened a brand new, I'm sorry, not Mr. Namu, I apologize, Mr. Bakal and Mr. Sandeha, who opened a hotel at the corner of 14 Mile Northwestern. Started 6 months before a Holiday Inn Express opened up across the street in a different municipality. Yet theirs opened 6 months later because of all the red tape they had to go through. So I hope that I can change that. I hope that I can change that by the right people. And I hope you guys can change that by voting for the right people for this township. And lastly, I want to close with this. I want to close with promises that I'm going to make to you. My promises are this. I'll work for you, the residents, first and foremost, not for myself. The job doesn't pay much. I'd rather, and I hope to God that I'm a stepping stone for many other Chaldeans, the newer generation that'll take my place in the future. I'm doing this because nobody else would run. I'm doing this because I want to give the Chaldean people a voice in West Bloomfield Township. We make up 24% of West Bloomfield, yet in City Hall we have less than 2%, if anything, of employment. One of the people that always talked to Michelle and several other members of the board to try to always hire more Chaldeans was Joe Oram. So every time Joe would talk to one of them, he would say, you need to hire more Chaldeans, you need to hire more Chaldeans. And nobody did that more than Michelle Economo. And we'll never forget that, Michelle. So thank you. I promise I will also answer my phone. So if you call me and you need something from me, I'll answer my phone. If I don't answer my phone, leave me a voicemail and I'll get back with you in 2 weeks or less. Just kidding. All right. I had some great jokes written, but my writer took them out. Where are you? Wendy Achu. That's who should be running for office in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a future politician for the Chaldeans, Wendy Achu. Lastly, I promise I will make West Bloomfield an economic engine for growth, business enterprise, and job creation. Just one last story to tell you. Steve Kaplan and I had the privilege of having Henry Ford Hospital come before us the other day. They put in they're going to put in a brand new walking path that was about to it wasn't going to get turned down, it was going to get tabled again and again and again. And my friend in the back, Frank Odish, knows all about that. He's trying to put a pool in his backyard, and he's having a hell of a time getting it approved. But Steve fought harder and harder and said, Jim, let's not let this thing get tabled tonight. We got to get this approved. They're the largest stakeholder in West Bloomfield. They're the largest employer in West Bloomfield. And look at the hard time they're giving them. So we got it approved. So there's going to be a walking path now in West Bloomfield. So thank you. Lastly, a couple other people that I forgot to mention. Congressman Roy Denha, is he here? Congressman? That's my brother-in-law, Congressman Roy Denha. He's more powerful than any congressman here, so get to know him. And lastly, one of my best friends in the world, I'm not sure if he's still here yet, Tom Gasso, are you still here? Tom's always been supportive of every Chaldean in Michigan and everybody else. So from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say thank you very, very much. I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful for your support. And I promise you, as a man of God, I will not let you down. I will not let you down. So they said in politics, you're not supposed to bring up religion or sex. I brought up religion, so I should tell you a dirty joke, right? I don't have one. All right. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.